Hello world, and welcome to Learning Java, one byte at a time. This is video number 11 in a tutorial series geared at bringing the wonderful wide world of Java to those with little or no programming experience. Boy, we've got a lot to cover today. In the last two videos, we made a dog class, which enabled us to create dog objects that had states and behaviors using a dog maker class. In this video, we're going to expand even more on the dog class by adding more functionality to make it more interesting and fun. We're going to go ahead and sack the dog maker class and start fresh with a dog breeder class, but most of what was in the original dog class we're going to be using in this video as well, so feel free to just add in the code as we go or start fresh. For all intents and purposes for this tutorial video, I'm going to start fresh with both classes, but there's no need to get rid of that original dog class because much of what was in there is still going to be used in this video. And by the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of the differences between static variables and instance variables and exactly what the heck is going on between those two. So we'll jump right into our Notepad++ app, and we're going to start with the dog class. Again, if you want to have the original dog class open, feel free and add in the code as we go. Otherwise, I'm going to start fresh and I'll do the best I can to explain as I go along. However, this is going to be very content laden, so I'm going to try to plow through this as quickly as possible while still being clear. So we are going to change the package. So we're going to have a package called dog breeder. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to declare that this is part of the package dog breeder. Then I'm going to go ahead and declare my dog class. And within the dog class, there will be no main method. And because the main method is a static method and the entry point, but the dog class is the class that's going to be constructing dog objects. I'm sorry, it's going to be the blueprint for the dog objects. The dog breeder class is going to actually do the constructing. Our dog class is not going to have a main method. There's not going to be any need for an entry point to the dog class. And because the main method is static to the class, none of the variables we're going to use in the dog class are going to be static variables. They're all going to be instance variables, which means they're going to be the ones that are going to be copied and replicated as we create dog objects. And so every variable that we have in this dog class is going to be copied every time we create a dog object. And none of them are going to be static to the dog class because there's no need. So let's go ahead and describe the behaviors and states of the dog. We'll start with the states, and as you saw before, we had the breed, color, and name, which were string variables. We also had the age and the weight, which were integer variables. And we are going to also add in a new variable type called a Boolean. And a Boolean is a variable that simply has two values of being true or false. And so these Boolean variables are going to describe further states, which will be hungry, restless, tired, and nervous. So we'll declare those Boolean variables as such. And as you can probably imagine, the variables hungry, restless, tired, and nervous are going to have values of true or false. And so just to flesh out this dog even more, it's going to have the breed, color, name, the age, and the weight, and then he will be some combination of being hungry or not, restless or not, tired or not, and nervous or not. So now let's go ahead and have our instance methods to make the assignments for all of these attributes, for all of these states of the dog. We'll start with the breed, and we'll call all of these instant methods assign. And since the breed is a type string, we will pass through a string that we'll call dog breed. Next we'll do the color and then the name. Then we'll assign the age and the weight. These will be accepting integer variables. All right, so we have the states of the dog assigned, and just to recap, we are pulling in the variable type. We are renaming it for the instance method dog breed, but we're setting the instance variable to the class dog equal to whatever it is that's being passed in, and this is just for the purposes of it being constructed. We could call it breed, but just to keep it clear that this is going to be the method instance variable and that this is going to be the class instance variable, I like to have them distinctive. So that's why we're naming it dog breed as a parameter or an argument, and then assigning the actual instance variable to the parameter or argument right here inside the instance method. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and use some instance methods to assign the Boolean states of hungry, restless, tired, and nervous. And I think that we're going to start off by having them all set to false. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have some actions that we can do with our dog. We're going to be able to feed him, play with him, we're going to be able to let him rest, and we're going to be able to calm him. And those are all going to be respective to those states. And so the methods, the instance methods that will be those actions, we'll define right here. And so whenever we invoke the method feed, we're going to take the instant variable hungry, and we're going to set it to false. So he's no longer hungry after we fed him. But then just for fun, we're going to grab another one of those variables and we're going to set it to true. And that's going to kind of give us a little bit of dynamics within our dog object. So whenever we feed him, his hungry variable is going to be set to false. But then we're going to set his restless variable equal to true. So every time we feed him, he's no longer hungry, but then he becomes restless and wants to play. In the play method, we're going to do much the same thing. We're going to set the restless equal to false. He's no longer restless after we play with him, but now he's going to be tired. So we're going to set tired equal to true. When the dog rests, we are going to set tired equal to false. He's no longer tired, but then we're going to set nervous equal to true. Let's say he hears a knock on the door or something like that. That's what wakes him up maybe. And so then we'll be able to calm the dog, which will set his nervous equal to false. But then just for fun, now he's hungry again. Dog's got to eat. And so those more keen among you will probably really realize what's going to happen here. We're going to kind of set ourselves into a loop. So when we feed him, it's going to make him restless, which will make us need to play with him. When we play with him, he's going to make him tired, so then he'll need to rest. After he rests, he's going to become nervous, which means we're going to need to calm him. And after we calm him, he's going to become hungry again. And that's going to kind of go back to in a loop over and over again. And obviously it's not super fun and interesting, but it's more interesting than the last dog object. And it gives you an idea of how we can start to create this into sort of a fun little program or game. Lastly, we're going to display the state of the dog as we did last time. The only difference is we're also going to add in the state of his mood, so to speak. Now I'm going to introduce a new character into the print line. This is going to be the \n, which creates a new line before the literal text that I'm going to feed through. This saves me the trouble of having to use an empty print line statement. Then we're going to print out the breed as we did before and concatenate the breed variable. Alright, so we have all of the states of the dog like that. And so now what we're going to do is, assuming that most of these are going to be false at any one time and one of them is going to be true, we're going to use a series of if clauses. And so we're going to basically say, if the dog is hungry, then go ahead and display that he's so. But if he's not, we're just not going to display anything at all. And so one way that we can do this is by using the if statement like this. If, and then passing through the variable itself, the Boolean itself, hungry, then we're going to do an action. And because this is a Boolean, and because if statements test to see if the condition is true or false, this Boolean value itself is going to have a value of true or false. And so just for simplicity, if we only pass through the variable as an argument, it's literally saying if hungry is equal to true, then execute this statement. And if it's not, then it won't do anything at all. And so you can see how sort of like eloquent this is. It's very, very simple, very, very elegant. And so we're going to go ahead and complete the if condition as such. And I'm going to use the dog's name and then concatenate that with the literal text is hungry. And we'll do the same thing with the other states. This will also allow the system to, if on the off chance that he is more than one, if he's hungry and restless, this will actually print off both of those at the same time because one's not going to be reliant on the other. Alright, like so. And I think I'm going to also include the /n operator right here, just on the off chance that any of these are happening simultaneously, that it will always have it printed off on a new line. And then of course if conditions are not true, it will not use that new line operator, so it will not need to have a new line, so it won't print and it won't mess up the formatting. Alright, so hopefully all of that's clear, and then just for formatting purposes I will actually end it with an empty print line statement. Okay, and that is going to actually finish off the dog object. I believe everything in there is correct. I know I went through this kind of quickly. The breed dog object I think is going to take a little bit more time than this video is going to allow, so I'm going to go ahead and break off now and make that a separate video. Hopefully all of this was clear, hopefully it was informative, and I'll see you right back for the very next video where we will make our our breed dog object that will use the dog class to construct a dog object, and then we'll be able to actually play with all of these behaviors and it'll be a little more fun and interesting. Hope this was fun and informative. I can't wait to see you all back, and thank you so much. We will see you soon.